Salabai, HCTC, and KOTO, are you ready to start the presentation right now?
Yes, I am.
So maybe let me do a very brief introduction explaining why we also thought that this topic was interesting to exchange about in the frame of this seminar. So altogether, ASSET-H&C members have more than 24,000 alumni, and a significant share of them has been impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. These alumni are part of the family and we cannot be unmoved by their situation. So we know that many schools took steps to help them, and 3 of them decided to share their best practices. So now I would like you to welcome Alex, Jimmy, and Renaud, who will share more about their experience and best practices, especially those developed recently to support their alumni in these difficult circumstances. So, guys, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody, again. So maybe I start as I can see I'm the first one on the screen. So Salabai, what we have done, we have created a Facebook page. I mean, it was already on, but now we are pushing it with all the alumni, where we post all job offers, all trainings, all workshops. We contacted, we actually employed one person to contact all alumni. We have over 1,800 alumni, so that's a lot. Some of them were just school 17 or 18 years ago, so it was hard, definitely, to to get in touch with to find the phone number for everybody. We use every year their experience, and this is a very good thing, to come to the school and conduct talks to new students. So this is very important. They are very happy. It makes them proud of them as well. Yeah, this is a very good thing to do, to have all students coming to the school and explaining where they are now and telling their success story if they have. We organize an alumni dinner once a year. This year was cancelled. And we decided to create a proper association. So in accordance with the Ministry of Interior. To be honest, we are still working on it. It has been over 6 months now, but we are at the final stage now. But this will be important for the future. And of course, so for this, we have to choose a board of directors, which was not very easy, and set up the goals and mission of this association. I mean, the goal is really to have the alumni taking care of the association and not the school. So it would be a big work, but okay, I think we are on the way. Maybe KOTO can share, maybe Jimmy.
Hello, guys. First of all, thank you also for sharing the platform with Sala and HCTC. You guys are doing a great job, so thank you for what you're doing. So we have, as you know, like all hospitality has been an incredible, crazy year. So, but it's also an opportunity for us to sort of look back and access to our alumni. So before I commence all this point form, I wanted to say that during the lockdown for KOTO, you know, it was the alumni that actually carried us through when we called to action. Basically, say, guys, you have a whole bunch of your younger brothers and sisters who's the current trainees in KOTO who need to be fed and every day. They all collectively raised over $20,000 to accommodate for the 2 months lockdown. So that's a great, to give you the strength of the alumni and what they carry. So KOTO for the last 7 years has always been a very active alumni. We have, but it's also been so much a part of KOTO. So last year, we separate them and gave them their own logo and their own Facebook and all social media. So we call it KOTO Alumni Community, KAC, where currently we have about 300 members. We will host a dinner for them coming up in a new location that we just closed, the old location where we've been for 20 years, and we're moving to a more expat-friendly rather than tourist-friendly area of Hanoi. We offered a $100,000 RMIT full scholarship for one of our alumni. If it didn't have the COVID, every year we usually have about 5 degree or certificate that we actually issue for our alumni to go and further studies, so they can come back a few years from then to contribute positively. We've done part of the social impact report. We did a survey on employment situation. And as we predicted, a lot of them was unemployed, but because a lot of them went back to the countryside. And as you know, from Cambodia and also in Laos and other places, when you go back to the countryside and you live off the land and your family, it actually doesn't cost very much. So financially, they're not like so desperately in poverty, but unemployment definitely has caused economic issue for them. Like I mentioned, we host the Come Home Have Dinner, which will be on the 10th of December coming up. We invite graduates to run classes at the training center, sharing their experiences to the current trainees. We offer jobs. I'm not sure if you know that 90% of the enterprise businesses of KOTO is actually are KOTO graduates. So they're the one who the whole know one, teach one, which is what KOTO stands for. Become that mirror and positive role model. So we signed a few additional social business that we're going to set up in 2021, and we hired them as part of our staff ensemble. Like every year, we usually do run a study tour and also job placement. So even though that we can't travel anywhere and there's travel restriction, we still have started the recruitment process for the alumni. So we advertise and we recruit and we do the interviews and all that kind of stuff for all those positions. So when it opens again, they just have to go do the visa and do the job placements or study tours or even scholarships as well. So we have a couple of local celebrity vlog, social media who teaches, because part of their income being unemployed, they do a lot of home delivery from local products, cooking products, but also to doing cooking shows. So we support them to create contents and give them studios to film, and that helps generate their persona and their image, I guess, and their brand. And so we, even though the pandemic, I'm not sure if you know, but in Vietnam, if you go to Vietnam now, even though the hospitality has a huge stint in the tourism market, but the 100 million resident here, you wouldn't know that actually we had a huge pandemic, like not unlike in Europe or in Australia. So there's a lot of local restaurants and local expats, international restaurants that service expats that are still open. So we managed to still place about 89 of our jobs placement for our alumni. So they still get jobs, even though that, you know, most of them receive only 50% salary, but they still continue on. And of course, we do continue English training and even online for them as support. So yeah, so that's what we've been done so far this year.
Okay, it leads me to introduce our actions at HCTC. So just to give you the general context, in Thailand, we are not badly affected by COVID, yet MESOT has been recently, there has been a little outbreak of COVID, so we've been in the radar on the national news, which leads us to be even more proactive in supporting our alumni and our current students on site. Everyone who is currently in the region of MESOT, we really have to help them connect with employers and not be associated with the disease. So 5 key levers for us at HCTC. The first one is obviously to be constantly connected with them online. We have, relatively to other schools, KOTO and Sala, a smaller alumni network, yet it's still a large group of people to be in touch with. So what we're doing with the team is that on a weekly basis, on Thursday mornings, we meet. We have an alumni task force, and we meet to match profiles of students who have not found a job yet amongst the 187 alumni, profiles with job opportunities. and it's a bit by hand, one-to-one process. So it's taking time, but it's important. And then whenever we see an opportunity, we post online. So we are very active on this line group. We also conduct monthly surveys, where we try to build with each alumni who is in need of support, a personalized follow-up plan to see, okay, so you would like to, are you still keen to work in this department? What have you been doing in the past? What sort of skills do you want to boost, to develop? So we try to build personalized approach. Obviously, meeting physically is important as well. So we have we have been doing 2 alumni what we call micro events, where we meet them in their location where they're working or where they're looking for a job, and we organize peer-to-peer meetings. They know each other, but sometimes they've lost touch, and so they help each other into jobs, which actually happened 2 weeks ago. We found a job through an alumni for an alumni. We also organize career forums. So the idea is for our school to become a sort of one-stop shop for career support. So in November, we're going to have a career workshop for 3 days, where they come, and it's offline to online. They come offline, they receive support, and then if we can organize interviews online, then it bridges from offline to online. And they can be connected with employers. And also what we have been doing is to sponsor long internships for students, especially freshly graduates who have not been able to find a job. We actually try to negotiate a long internship with an employer that's most likely to employ them. So it requests some support from us, both logistically and financially to an extent, but it is something that we are keen to do, because we know it's gonna secure a good work opportunity in the longer term. I think we can move on to the next slide. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the mission of the association, actually, of the alumni, definitely leading the current intake through the year school, create a network of alumni. So we are still working on it. As as you know, we have 1,800, so that's a lot of work. Yeah, especially at the moment, most of them have lost their job, so that's not really easy, and some of them don't even want to go back to the industry, to the hospitality industry. We help members to manage their career if they have any question, if they don't know, if they want to make their own CV, curriculum vitae, and etc. We organize regular workshops as well. I'm going to have one that was in 2 weeks on fruit and vegetable carving, for example. So we encourage, we try to give them more, more knowledge and to extend their knowledge. Sharing experience, definitely, they come to share experiences with with the new students, and we try to help them as well to overcome, any challenge they might have. Giving support to graduates. This is something which have never been done, but I think there is a high demand for this. So this year, I'm going to try to focus on this, on the entrepreneurship, even if we don't have a proper program. But I think this is something important. Most of my students come from the countryside, and I know a lot of them would like to go back to their village and maybe open a business, a small business, or a coffee business, or something like this. So we're going to try to help them. This association can eventually help them as well if they have any financial difficulties. We will do case by case, definitely, and the social worker will follow up. We let the alumni know about the job opportunities through the Facebook page. Technical knowledge, I talk about it with workshops, and this is an idea as well, as we already did in Siem Reap between the 4 hotel schools. Paul Dubrul started it, and but we would like to have every member to have a card, and this card will give discounts to different activities in town. So that's why it's important for us to collect the maximum, to have the maximum of students, of alumni connected to the association, and then we'll be able to have proper good discounts on different things and different activities which are available in town. That's it for my side. Jimmy?
For us, is I think with the alumni network is the three objectives. Number one is to engage them as much as possible to the KOTO program, which is becoming a mentor and inspiration to the trainees, which I think is probably one of the recipe why we achieve such a great success, because they can see where they're going and they see the people that have been successful. Number two is to at the moment, unfortunately, in the hospitality industry, a lot of the top tier managerial positions are seated by a foreigner. And I think like the GM of resorts and all that. So we want to be able to sort of like create capacity building for leaderships. So, and that's what one of the reasons why the KAC is to run more workshops and all that kind of stuff. And I guess number three is to be able to sort of create an ecosystems of support around a network for each other. So, like they can all lean each other and support each other as they grow as a family, as a community of KOTO hospitality professionals. So that's three objectives. So going to that, that's all the point form that related to the mission, I guess, of KOTO. So support more entrepreneurs. We want to organize more workshops and capacity building. And people, especially those that we encourage them to go into their own businesses or social entrepreneurs. We have one graduate who's now run her own social enterprise on domestic violent women. And that's that, so we want to encourage more that type of entrepreneurship and enterprises. We engage them through, training when they come back to train with the trainees, involved in different events like the graduations and some of the charity program that we run outside the community. But one of the things that with the new KOTO Villa, which is a new restaurant that we're opening in 2 weeks' time, the alumni, there's a special part of the menu called Taste the Stories, which is basically encouraging the chefs who's quite well known in the industry to contribute to the dishes and tell their stories through Taste the Story. And of course, continue to set up a stimulus system where trainees get turned over and out into the workforce and become alumni and become active citizens and contribute back to the community, the industry, and also KOTO. So we say train more trainees next year and get them into to the workforce and into the alumni community. So this is something that we haven't done yet, but one of the mission is, in order for them to do to become their own entrepreneurs and startups, we need to be able to get some financial backing. So we're working on grants, small grants that will be able to allow them, not only do we train you in capacity, but if you need a small loan to start your business, we'll be able to do that. And we reached a point, because we've been in operation for 20 years now, we're in a position where we have a lot of those that have been in the industry for 10 years, 15 years, that want to have their own businesses and are mature enough to do that and giving them the support. Of course, for the last 7-8 years, we've been doing a lot of job placements from Malaysia, Asia, New Zealand, Australia, Europe, and I will continue to do that going into the new year, getting them to be skilled up in managerial or top tier and leadership. So when they come back, they can either own their own business or become the future GMs of hotels and restaurants. Recruit more alumni members. And training more managerial positions within the KOTO organizations as well, while at the same time, by offering more scholarships and to alumni from institutions that we have networks and partnership with.
Okay, for us at the HCTC, we have, we could summarize our mission in 3 points, which will partly overlap with what was said by the 2 previous schools. Obviously, it's first of all to provide a safety net which is, as I mentioned, that the school becomes this place where they can go back to, reach out to enable to find a bridge into job integration. So our mission is to have support in terms of preparing interviews, identifying interview opportunities, developing their network, but also get ready for what the market is going to evolve into. So what is the new normal, how to adjust in a team where there is more pressure, there is more competition. We were talking with the one partner recently, the Four Seasons, who was telling us that now air hostesses are applying for job at the front office because they've lost their job. So just to give a sense of how many skilled professionals are now competing for the same jobs. So preparing them as well to adjust, and providing as well emotional support, explaining more about how to overcome the stress, how to overcome how to inform themselves to make better choices in terms of careers. Also, the important point is for them to feel like they belong, obviously, to the HCTC. And as we mentioned, we have regular micro events, but also one large alumni event that we will start next year to really engage with all the cohorts and promote peer-to-peer support for our alumni to become the first recruiters of our graduates and our future graduates. So this idea of creating a sense of belonging is something that was touched upon by other partners, which is very important to have alumni to come back to the school and share their stories. And I think it's the best motivator, the best motivation lever is to really hear from someone who's made it, from someone who's gained experience. It's the best way for us to motivate our students, and obviously for our alumni to carry on training them and upskilling them by retargeting them with specialized training. So we are initiating the conversation for a winery certification for selected scholarships. Also looking into barista. We have a partnership with Monin, so that we will provide a series of workshops in the coming year, and looking into the opportunity of a bakery training as well. So the idea is to be able to source funding to fund specific scholarships and upskilling alumni profiles.
So challenges definitely we had. So finding contacts was one big thing, because as I said, we have some alumni who worked, I mean, who finished the school already 15, 16, 17 years ago. So it was hard to get their contact. Hopefully some of them stay in touch, together, so we could have their contact. As I said before as well, we are setting up an association. We started 6 months ago and we are still working on it. I mean, Cambodia is a bit scared of, like many countries actually, of any association having political, issue. So we had, we had to make sure there was no politics involved at all in all the communication, and it had to be clear, with the government. As well, as I said, the goal is really to have the student and the alumni running this association and not the school. So it was hard for them to understand what is the role of an association. It took a long time to decide who were the board, who was the accounting, who was, so it was a hard job as well. And to understand, once again, it's an association, so there is no salaries involved. So for some of them, actually, some of them left, just left, the meeting saying, okay, if I don't make, any money, I will not be part of this association. but now we are on track. And it was hard as well for everybody, especially for the board of, for the board to see the benefits of a membership to the association. So we are still working on it as well, how to get all students to join. And that's why we thought about this membership card, which will give discount, and I think it might interest many students. That's it for my part, Jimmy.
Thank you, Renaud. I guess the pandemic is bringing so many challenges. So the first one is we closed a restaurant that we've been running for 20 years. So now it's just trying to keep the new business alive and continue with training ground for our students. Because if you picture a restaurant pre-pandemic, we have a 450 patrons every day. So it's a great training ground for our students, but also a source of income for us. So I think the challenge is to keep that going, keep the training going. And then so the brand out there, when we send our kids out there, so they're balanced and skilled and able to speak English and good attitude and all that. And that's all to do with training. So so the business, the core business has to, the mothership, I call it, has to stay alive. And because there's no income, well, the next challenges is always, I think I'm sure for Sala and you guys as well, Alex, is to be able to sort of have for funding and cash flow issues where we currently still manage over 200 students. It's a living program. We still have to pay for the salary. So funding and cash flow is always an issue. And you're competing in a pool with so many other charity organizations or organizations who need help. You're tapping into the same pool, which is the pool is getting smaller and smaller. So funding and cash flow is the second one. The human resources, as a social enterprise, you always compete in the market. When you don't have the money, that means you don't have the capability, the financial resources to hire the kind of skills that people want, people have. So therefore, you're always going to have for challenges. And because you don't have a cash flow situation, that you're unable to pay fully to this during the pandemic, you lose staff turnover as well. So human resources is also another one. And unemployment, which leads to mental health issues. Both we're unable to support because we're all in the same boat. And also, you know, like this partnership for overseas placements, study tours, even job placements, and all that, it's all put on hold because we don't know when we're able to travel. We don't know when the border is going to open again, and etc. So people are very hesitant to form partnerships with you this year, simply because you know, to further skill enhance the alumni or give them job opportunities or training opportunity. All that is a problem. So that's for us some of the main ones.
As was mentioned before, a lot of the students who during the pandemic returned to their the first few months of the pandemic, they returned to their families. Some who recovered their job or back in their in the larger cities, but for those who still need support, it's sometimes very difficult to reach out to them for purely technical reasons. They change phone, or they don't have data or network connection. So it's obviously one big technical hurdle. So we use a lot of the word of mouth. We call people who reach out to people, and end up being in touch with some of the alumni who are out of network. I think it's important as well that we have an approach with our alumni which is regular, but without creating a feeling of recurring effect of, you know, going back to them and asking them the same questions every month. Are you still in your job? Are you still happy in your job? So how can we make this conversation more like a dialogue, a natural dialogue, and more active? That's why we try to have a different thing to offer to them every time we reach out to them, instead of just asking them questions. Okay, so in a month we're going to have a workshop. Oh, there is this seminar, there is this webinar. Would you like to take part? So we need to have a series of pretexts as well to reach out to them. One thing that we're noting, which is an inner challenge, is that there is some of the students are quite volatile. I don't know if I can say that, but like they find a job, their profile, the reputation of the school enables them to find a job, which is fairly incredible in this market context. But sometimes they don't want to stay in this job, so they change job, or they stay for 3 months, and then we find out that they're opted out of the job. So what can we do? What is where our job stops, in terms of explaining to them what is at stake for their career, but also leaving them just totally in charge of making their own choices. And this is always a fine line, which I find personally very difficult to draw. So I'm happy to discuss with you about this as well. I think also one key challenge is to have a bit more of an ecosystem approach with not just the student, but their family, especially when the student is very young. Their family can have a huge impact on their decision. And if the family is scared about COVID, and in some of the villages where they live, no one is able to enter the village. If the family is scared, the student will not be able to choose a job or move away from the village. So how can we better inform the family? And so far we've done it through partners who are on site in the villages, but it's not something we've done directly. And also here again, I think a big challenge is to summon up different experts, general managers, because a lot of general managers are currently not very much busy because their hotels are empty. So we try to partner with professionals to explain to students what the market is going to look like, and what kind of competition they have to face to these alumni and students, and really get them ready for being versatile and flexible.
So yeah, very quickly after, so we had to close in Cambodia the school on the 9th of March. We figure out, we were just thinking, of course, about our current intake, but we figure out the intake, the previous intake, which finished, they ended up the school in August 2018, actually. So all the students found a job, but quickly after, so they work September, October, November, December, and then in March, all hotels closed in town. So we thought about them. So we called them one by one, and we figure out around 80% of them were jobless. And the important thing is 50% of them had a loan, quite a big loan actually. The salary, let's say the medium salary was $120 at the time, and some of them had loans up to $100 a month. So we decided, we had a big meeting with the board in Paris, as we are a French NGO, and we had an emergency call, and we had an emergency donation, and okay, we could receive an amount which was sufficient to help this intake. So we provide them food, as you can see on the picture, and as well $40 allowance per month. So we did that during 4 months. It was very difficult to deal with the donation because a lot of students were moving. Actually, they were working in one place for 1 month, as a Alex was mentioning before, and then the next month they were in another province, and then so it was difficult to make those those donations possible. So we work with different NGOs. I mean, yeah, a lot of NGO partners, and thanks to them we were able to send all those donations into the provinces, and then students could go into the center, into those NGO, and to collect their donation. So the logistic was quite tricky. That's why the last 2 months we decided to give them only money. Okay, only the allowance. Yeah, that's it. Just one thing regarding the donations. So of course they like the rice and the fish sauce and everything, but I think the things they like the most were the seeds. We give them seeds to grow, to grow vegetables, and they were all very happy actually to have those seeds. They were all sending us picture of their garden and everything. So this is something. I mean, this is something quite interesting to know. That's it from my side.
On our side, we have been affected as well by the crisis in the first few months. 48% of our alumni were in employment, so many had lost their job. But now in October, we were back to 75% from the first year to the batch 1 to the batch 7. And the freshly graduates who graduated back in June, there are currently 87 of them are in employment, which we're very happy about, and well done to the team on working relentlessly to find job opportunities for them. So it means that technically we have 27 students out of 31 in employment, but not all of them in the industry. So what we try to do is to also see if they are in employment, what kind of employment is it, and how can we retarget them some of them who are working in a low qualified jobs. So that's what we are doing, and at the moment only 4 of the last batch are not in employment. So this is good news for us, but we keep on working, and that's why we're organizing the workshop at the end of November, where we will organize support for developing interview practices, both CV writing, but also LinkedIn workshops, personalized job opportunity mapping, and organize on-site video, and obviously follow up with them, which is the most important part probably, because you have the workshop, but then you need to keep the link, make sure that they convert what they've learned into a job. So this is going to be a long-term process, but so far it's working.
Yeah, so I mean, our plan, we have a lot of plans, but so the plan definitely with this alumni association is to continue to complete the datas. It will take time, but okay, we are on the way. Next things will be to create this membership card once we have enough students, and to find more partner who will be able to give us discount and special offers. And I definitely think we need to organize workshop on entrepreneurship. As I said before, a lot of them don't really want to stay in a city, or as Alex mentioned as well, the family are scared of their kids staying in a big town with a lot of foreigners coming. So when I ask the students, a lot of them tell me, yeah, okay, I would like to go back to my village after and open a little cafe or a little restaurant. So we have, yeah, I mean, we will need to set up a little program and to have the old alumni to help, the new ones in this entrepreneurship program. We could see already, even during the lockdown, when they went back home, a few of the current intake students open little shops. Actually, some, who were in a cooking, department, open their own little, cake shop in their village, and it works quite well. I mean, they were happy; they could make a little bit of profit. So I think entrepreneurship is a good thing. We haven't worked on it at all, but I think for Cambodia, this will be a very good thing to do.
So just very quickly on the last two slides, sorry, we didn't put in our contribution simply because the economy for Vietnam, I'm not sure if you know, we surpassed Malaysia and Singapore just recently in the economy. So like I mentioned, if you go to Vietnam, you wouldn't think that we're in a pandemic because, the food, the restaurants and all that booming. It's just there's no tourists and the hotels are suffering. So because of that, when the lockdown, 2 months lockdown, yes, there were literally everyone was unemployed. But then after 2 months and all that, Vietnamese are very resourceful. So a lot of our kids went and did a lot of part-time work and local restaurants and things like that to pick up jobs. And so therefore, that's why the special support that we give to our students basically is what I mentioned in the previous slides. So the plan for coming ahead is, of course, is to increase the database, more membership signed up, which means that there's more network we can organize and support and workshop and all that we can run. Because the membership, we actually charge the membership for. Each membership costs $50 for a year, and it gives you the free key ring and T-shirts and membership and access to job opportunities and that as well. Capacity and of course within that, like I say, it's a workshop on capacity and business acumen, which is what Renaud just mentioned before, entrepreneurships. So we have a board in place for KSC, but we want to put in the admin procedures and actually get a full-time person on board to run it more seriously, where at the moment we only have one person. Secure funding for KSC so we can actually offer more opportunities and workshop running, and also through the membership as well, because the membership doesn't only cover half. Increase the database for the F&B space. Now this is we just recently been sponsored by a wonderful technology company called Salesforce. So the migrations of the database from both the industry but also for the alumni would help us a lot to manage the database, but also to connect them to a lot of the contacts and all that we have out in the hospitality industry. So we hope that we'll be able to, with the right training for our alumni and the support, they'll be able to go into more managerial positions in the future and hopefully leaderships and owning and become entrepreneurs and open their own business. Definitely the whole Know One Teach One is the more training alumni mentor program. One of the things that they're very proud of is everywhere the graduates, the trainee goes, as soon as you say your KOTO, you just instantly enter this membership, this community of acceptance and support and all that. So it's a real family that we created through the alumni network and KOTO. And of course, create some more incentives for alumni to do more to the community, because we believe that everything has to work on both ways. A partnership thing is not just because we helped you and now that you're an alumni, you have to help us. It's not that how we approach that. So we help each other. So we help you, you help us, and that's together we grow. But in order for us to encourage them to do more and come back and become the mentors and offer their skills and all that kind of stuff, we want to put a policy around incentives for them to come back and do more for KOTO.
Right. For us, the next steps will be definitely to be proactive in building up a system on social media, which is more a professional platform. It's good to be in touch with them, but how can we use the social media to build a real professional forum? I don't have an answer yet. Perhaps we need to use a specialized platform, or we can use a generic platform like Line or Facebook. We need to use it in a way that is clever enough to have subgroups of discussion about certain segments of the industry. We need to design that, and I'm happy to hear your suggestions. I think obviously, the reason why we are having success in job integration is that we also focused our efforts a lot on the restaurant industry rather than the hotel industry. So I think for us to support the alumni will also be both alumni and students actually to develop our our network of partners, converging more towards the restaurant network. So this is something that is connected to the third big pillar. It's how to upskill them in a way that both enables them to integrate the industry with the right skills, which I mentioned before, winery, pastry, but also, as you mentioned, that was mentioned several times, how can we help those who have experience enough to know that they want to set up their own business? How can we help them convert that into an actual business? So how to retarget them with entrepreneurship support. And I really like the idea of mentoring. I think this is something I would like to develop more as a team. It's this idea that old alumni, as it were, can mentor younger alumni, but also how can we bridge, how can we keep the conversation with the hotel industry until recovery by having mentorship support from hotel managers or professionals to our alumni students, and keep them in the loop, keep them in the conversation with the hotel industry. So yeah, that's for us.
So again, I'm sure that some of you have some questions for Alex, Renaud, and Jimmy. So it's time to submit them.
I have actually a question for everybody. I mean, for all panelists. How do you fund your association? Is your school funding the association, or do you have I mean, like Jimmy mentioned, is having a $50 a year membership card. How do you do? You know, I haven't decided yet how, yeah. So I would like to hear from you guys. You know, tell me, you know, I mean, how do you fund?
Are you talking about the member, excuse me, alumni?
Yeah, I mean, so I know for you, you know, because you said, okay, you are, you know, you are charging a $50, you know, per year membership card.
Yeah.
But how does the other school do?
In terms of alumni association, we don't have an association for our alumni, so not yet.
So the plan is the more you increase the membership, the more that we have a cash flow that we can actually run more workshop. But in the interim, because we have a not so high membership at the moment because of the pandemic and people are unable to afford it, we want to be able to sort of offer them still ongoing workshop that it's been sponsoring in kind. And so we're running a couple of English classes and all that kind of stuff, which we leverage the brand to be able to get that. But in the future, what we want to do next year is to have a small seeded fund that will allow us to really kick off the marketing and all that kind of stuff, and workshops and more professional workshops and brand identities, just to get them out there. Because at the end of the day, for $50 for a lot of our students, graduates, when when they leave the program, and this is post the pandemic, a lot of them is up to about $200 to about $300 income per month. So they're on a really good revenue stream. So I think that $50 is not so much to charge, given that, you know, the opportunity they're going to get, even for job placements. Job placements, for example. A lot of places, like when they place into UAE, for example, that's, you know, $1,200 per month, and then they don't pay for any flights or any visa costs and accommodations and all that. So they can really save money as well. So for $50, you invest and to get that kind of access to that kind of information, training opportunity and all that. A lot of the feedback from alumni has been, wow, it's actually really worth it. So you got to make it really incentivized and exciting for them, because it's always, at the end of the day, it's human being and human nature. So what's in it for me? So when it comes to,
Yeah, no, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comment or question for our speakers?
Yeah, I have one question for Renaud. Can you explain how you plan to get discounts for alumni through your discount card? Do you plan to negotiate with businesses based on the volume of alumni that you will have? Well, how do you plan to build this offer?
Yes, I think that's the right answer. So that's why we are, I mean, our plan is really to connect the maximum of alumni. And then if we have over 1,000 alumni, then we can go to see, you know, the different businesses and say, look, we have 1,000 guys who might be interested in you know, in going to your restaurant or in going to, you know, ride a horse or, you know, whatever activities. And so this is the plan. And we have as well, I mean, Sala is 18 years old, you know, NGO. Siem Reap is a small town, so everybody knows us. And I am sure most of the, most of the people working in hospitality will make this sort of deal, especially now, actually, where, you know, I mean, everybody needs customer and the Cambodian market is growing. I mean, nobody was focusing on the Cambodian market before. Now everybody is. Yeah. So that's the way we plan to do.
Thank you.
One more last question, because, well, we are slowly running out of time. Is there one more question? Okay, well, in this case, I would like again to thank our speakers who made this great presentation, and it was not an easy exercise to do it with 3 different schools, so really congratulations for that. It is now time to close this session and the first day of our virtual regional seminar. Just to give you a little heads up about what is going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow we start at 9 a.m. with a group discussion with all members about reinventing schools practices to keep bringing positive change in the lives of vulnerable youth and adults. And then we will continue with the national meetings. So the meeting for Cambodian members will take place at 10:30 a.m. and the one for Vietnamese members and HCTC at 2 p.m. The agenda of these national meetings have been resent to you by email this morning. And well, unless someone has something else to add, I just would like to already wish you a nice end of afternoon, and we look forward to meeting you again tomorrow.
I just want to say hello to Mr. Thomas. Haven't seen you for a while, so hello, Thomas. Thank you guys for organizing such a great webinar to get together and connect and feel that you're still part of a community. So thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for being here with us today as well. Okay, guys, then we see you tomorrow.
Yes, see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you so much.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.